welcome back to my channel for some more Demon Slayer episode recap and review. This is Merely Deets. I am super excited in another amazing episode of Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba. The battle with Yahaba and Susamaro finally comes to a grisly end. Honestly, the series just keeps getting better and better. Each action, the scene, along with the music and all of our characters just make this a great series. So I cannot wait to get into this episode with you guys. We start off this episode with Yahaba's defeat. Tanjiro was able to combine one of Yahaba's attacks and his own breathing technique to land a blow that would cut his head off, and he did it. Yes! But Yahaba is not going down with at least one more hit. He unleashes one last attack which sends arrows through Tanjiro's body, and they intentionally start to bounce Tanjiro up in the air, up and down, up and down. Tanjiro is refusing to lose at this point. He is forced to unleash almost every single one of his breathing techniques. Tanjiro is trying not to be killed. Yahaba finally starts to fade away, and finally dying, the attack stopped. Tanjiro is super exhausted as it took everything he had to unleash all of these forms. He is gasping for air. He can barely grab his sword, but yet he knows he has to get back to the gang as they are still facing Susamaro off. He knows that they can use all the help they can get. As he makes an effort, he finally grips his sword and starts to drag himself towards their way. What an amazing boy Tanjiro really is. We then cut to Susamaro as she's facing off Yushido. Yushido does have this technique where he can turn himself invisible, allowing him to kind of sneak up onto Susamaro and land hits on her. He starts to actually bounce her tamaris up and down, causing the dirt to actually start to gather up in the air. And this helps her because as Yushido is laughing and telling her that he can pinpoint her location and he is able to avoid her attacks, she also did this on purpose to pinpoint where he's at. As Yushido is about to take another blow to the head, Nezuko arrives just in time to save him. Yes, Nezuko! As Nezuko arrives, she kicks the tamari away from Yushido's face, and she actually sees him as her little brother once again. She then has a competition with Susamaro, and they start kicking the tamaris back and forth, and Yushido is super shocked. You know, he's seeing Nezuko's strength, and Miss Tamayo then explains to Yushido that she only gave her a healing serum specially made for demons. What they are seeing is Nezuko's own strength at her own will, and without devouring humans. She is getting stronger because she wants to defend both Miss Tamayo and Yushido, and this is causing her to keep up with the Tamari demon. This is causing her to actually be able to kick Susamaro's Tamari balls back and forth to her without taking any damage. Way to go, Nezuko. But Miss Tamayo also realizes and accepts that her opponent is also formidable, and if Susamaro was to go all out on Nezuko, Nezuko wouldn't stand a chance. So she knows she has to act. Cutting her arm and using one of her spells, again the flowery patterns appear, and it just looks so amazing as always. Animation always on point. As Miss Tamayo is using her spell, she steps in and she asks Susamaro if she knows the true identity of Kibutsuji, if she knows that he is a coward and that he is constantly living in fear of something. Wonder what that could be. So the spell that Miss Tamayo has used is Magical Aroma of Daylight. It affects the person's brain and doesn't allow them to say lies and basically say what's on their mind. As Miss Tamayo's spell starts to take effect, Susamaro starts to get angry, and she tells her that there's no way he could be that petty, that his power isn't comparable to anyone else, and she blurts out his name. And as soon as she does this, she immediately freaks out and starts to beg for forgiveness. So blurting out Kibutsuji's name actually triggers the curse, and as Susamaro's running and begging, you know, like, please forgive me, I didn't mean to, 3 more demon arms burst out of her, grabbing her head, crushing it, and then ripping her apart in one of the most brutal ways ever. You actually didn't get to see it, but you could hear her flesh like just being ripped apart, and it was so grisly and ominous. I just can't believe that just happened. As Tanjiro is arriving while this is happening, he asks if she died. Well, I think she's pretty much dead, Tanjiro. She's just been ripped into pieces. I would assume she is. Miss Tamayo explains that she will die momentarily as her physical body will be destroyed by Muzan cells that are still in her. Apparently, demons can't really battle themselves because they can't inflict wounds on each other, so they can never destroy each other. Only Muzan has the power to destroy demon cells. Miss Tamayo also informs Tanjiro that Susamaro is not a member of the 12 Kizuki, as the 12 Kizuki actually have numbers engraved in their eyeballs, which identifies them as these elite warriors, and also accepts that Susamaro was too weak. What? Are you kidding me? Too weak? Still taking a sample of her blood, she hopes that this will help in creating the healing serum. Tamayo, Yushido, and Nezuko take refuge in the basement as Miss Tamayo has to treat Nezuko as she accidentally inhaled Miss Tamayo's spell. Tanjiro is then left by himself. Then out of nowhere, something happens that I just was not expecting. That the Mari demon starts to call out for her Mari, and Tanjiro grabs the ball and puts it right next to her, and he tells her, you know, here's your Mari. And she tells him to play with her. And Tanjiro feels so sorry in these moments for her because she's like a little kid and she was deceived into thinking she was one of the 12 Kizuki. She was forced to fight, and now she's been killed by the Muzan curse. So in his eyes, and like always, like I've said, Muzan is the real demon. You know, if this is how he treats, you know, even those devoted to him, he honestly is just a monster. As daylight starts to appear, the mighty demon finally dies. Tanjiro's looking for the rest of the gang, and Yushido calls out to him, informing him that they are in the basement, but that he necessarily doesn't need to come down here. And Miss Miles always is like, Yushido, chill. As Tanjiro heads down to the basement, he is greeted instantly by Nezuko, who hugs him immediately. And then she stops hugging him and runs to Miss Tamayo. This kind of causes a little surprise in Miss Tamayo. You know, she tells Tanjiro that Nezuko has been acting like this as, you know, something that they need to be worried about. Tanjiro is like, no, this isn't something you need to worry about. She is under a spell. And Miss Tamayo is confused because she's like, well, I thought the spell that Nezuko was under only allows her to see humans as humans and demons as demons. And he explains that at first he wasn't okay with her being under a spell, but it looks like she has a will of her own and she perceived both Miss Tamayo and Yushido as humans. And that is the reason why she protected them, and it is, honestly, was probably one of the most heartwarming scenes. Miss Tamayo starts to cry, and you know, Tanjiro freaks out and he tells Nezuko to step away from her, but he realizes that Miss Tamayo is grateful to Nezuko for perceiving her as a human, and she thanks her. And Yushido's face, you know, usually he's all about Miss Tamayo. He's so in love with her that he doesn't want anyone touching her and stuff like that. He just looks sad for a moment, and we see a flashback of him thinking to the moments where he was super sick and Miss Tamayo asked him if he did want to turn into a demon, but that losing his humanity would cause him grief and pain. Miss Tamayo informs Tanjiro that her and Yushido will be leaving the region as they've come too close to Muzan and they need to make sure that they hide. She thinks that it is better for Nezuko to stay with them, as it would be safer for her than taking her into battle. As Tanjiro is thinking that maybe this is a good idea, Nezuko grabs his hand and just stares at him. And that stare just is like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like her telling him that she's gonna stay with him regardless. And after this, Tanjiro's like, no, you know, we're gonna stay together. We're never gonna be apart, as Miss Tamayo wishes him good luck, and he wishes them good luck. Before leaving, Yushido finally tells Tanjiro that his kid sister is a beauty. There she is, she's so cute. We end this episode with our heroes heading out to their next mission, and as they're heading out to the road, you know, Tanjiro's telling the crow to chill out, that he hears them. They hear a scream, and what do you know? Remember the blonde kid from Final Selection? He is on the road hugging this random girl and begging her to marry him, causing a commotion. So I wonder what's gonna happen in next week's episode. Let's see how Tanjiro's gonna handle this situation. Honestly, this episode was just amazing, as most of the episodes in the series are. I just love the series. I think it does a great job with, you know, combining its action scenes with its soundtrack and just overall everything that's happening, it just blends in beautifully. Again, the animation is always on point. All the action scenes are just so great to see. Like that moment where Nezuko and Susamaro were kicking the ball back and forth, like you could see the force that they each had, and it was just amazing to see that. Again, the characters are just so great. You start to care about them, and you start to, care about what happens to them. At first, you're kind of skeptical about Yushiro, but I love Yushiro. I honestly love him. I like how sarcastic he can be. Miss Tamayo as well, I think she's just a very heartwarming character. She gives off that totally mom vibe, and she's just, such a sweet person. And I hope, she's able to create this serum, and the fact that she's willing to help Tanjiro and Nezuko just shows how much of a good person she is. Tanjiro as well, I love Tanjiro's character. He's just the perfect protagonist. I think his feelings are so pure himself. His character is just pure. Nezuko as well. Nezuko is probably my favorite character. I like that she uses the memories of her family to base her strength upon. I think she's super strong. I think there's more strength that is lying underneath Nezuko, so I can't wait to see that. Overall, like I said, the series is so great. I can't wait to get more and more deeper into these episodes. Thank you once more for watching my review. If you guys like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you guys want to see more, please subscribe. And if you guys have any questions, or if you guys have any comments about the series or the episode overall, please comment them down below. I am always open for any discussions. Thank you guys so much again for your time. You guys have a great day. Marley Beats out.